Hi, hello. Guys, I finished two shows and I have to talk about both of them because I have thoughts about both. Okay, so the two shows that I finished are Reply 1988 and Good Boy. Now, they both, interestingly enough, have Park Bo-gum in them, which is kind of a fun little moment. It's been his year. Reply was from like 2020 or something, but the other shows that I watched him in like two or three dramas this year, and he's been popping off. Very proud of him. He's an incredible actor, and I think he deserves everything that he has. Anyways, so, okay, let's start with Reply 1988. Now, this is a very, very well-known K-drama. It's very talked about. It's very hyped up. It's just like this, like, everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's the best show ever. Oh, okay. So here's my thoughts. Good. I liked it. It was a good show. However, I don't really know that I would say it's like the best K-drama I've ever watched. I think it's way too long. It's literally 20 episodes. Every episode's like an hour and a half. I think the shortest episode I maybe watched was like maybe an hour and 10 minutes. Like, they are long episodes, and it kind of has this vibe of like sometimes nothing's happening and you're like, hey, why am I watching this? Like, I'm not going to lie, I did skip some conversations, especially between the parents, because it was nothing was going to happen. Okay, there was no conclusion to the conversations. They were just filler for the show. So there was quite a few scenes, especially in the last episode, where I was like, this plays, I don't care. This has nothing to do with anything. I know how the show ends. Like, I've seen clips of it, so I already know like how it ends. I don't need to watch them debate this topic that's apparently such a big deal, but like low-key is not a big deal at all. Anyways, so that all that aside, I did enjoy the show. I really had a hard time at the beginning though, because holy cow, I did not like a lot of the main characters. I was like, wow, these people kind of suck. And I don't really know why I'm supposed to like this like mediocre parents. They're like mediocre. They're like not great. They're just like, I don't know, annoyed me. But then there was other moments that were really good. So it's just like, I think it was just the beginning I didn't like, and then it got better. I will say there's certain characters that I really liked. Obviously, I loved Park Bo-gum's character. He's my favorite character. Might be one of my favorites that he's played. I loved him so much. He was so sweet. He was so cute. I just needed him. I'm gonna put him in my pocket. I loved him. I think, I can never say her name. Hyeri plays the main character, basically Doksun. I thought she did great. She thrives in that type of chaotic role. She just like that was her first, that might have been her debut actually, and she did a good job. She carried the show. She has a lot of personality in the show. She's very funny, whatever. I liked a lot of the other actors. I really liked the actor that played Sunwoo. I thought he was, I loved that character, like, a lot. He was so cute. And his family, oh my gosh, his little sister and his mom, loved them. They were some of my favorite parts of the show. They were just, like, so pleasant. I really liked his mom in the show because she was so sweet. Like, oh my gosh. And that actress I love her. But yeah, there was just parts about it I didn't like. Also, this is the biggest. Okay, so I'm gonna give you some lore. Okay, so they're a big part of the Reply series because there's like multiple shows that have that same name. But also, just I think the way the director makes the plots, especially with the Reply ones, is it's like, who does she end up with? So it's like, who is Doksun's husband? We don't know. It seems like, because you're not supposed to know until obviously they reveal at the end of the show who it is, and like you finally see who she ended up with, because she has like 4 guy friends. She's like the only girl in this, like, these boys she grew up with, because it's kind of like their teenage years to like adulthood kind of is kind of the vibe of the show. So she has, it's kind of funny, a crush on one of the friends, Sunwoo, actually. It's so random, and it doesn't end up going anywhere, and he's actually the one that marries her sister. It's very funny, because there's no substance to it. It's just she thinks he likes her, and then she's like, oh my gosh, I like him. It's like, nothing comes of it. Whatever, she moves on. But then there's the other character that every single person and their mother freaking ships her with, which is Jung-hwan, one of her friends. Now, I have a lot of feelings about him. Going into the show, I knew that everyone shipped those two. I've seen the edits, I've seen the things, and I was like, everyone always talks about it being like the biggest second lead syndrome, like, oh my gosh, it should have been him, it should have been him, I felt blah, 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 blah. I beg to differ. He could not bother to tell her how he felt. And I could not care less. I'm sorry. You took years to tell her that you liked her. And you said it in a way that was like, because so they're having this conversation. It's like 6 years later, they're all adults now, okay? We've known that he's liked her this whole time. He's liked her since they were like 18, 19, and now they're like, into their 20s. And there's this scene where the friends are all kind of reminiscing and they're talking, and one of the friends says, "Oh my gosh, I just want to see, like, Jung-hwan, you've never dated anyone. I just want to see you confess to someone." So then he confesses to Doksun. As the audience, we know he's being serious. We know he's legitimately, like, confessing to her and saying how he feels. But then he basically, like, says all of that to her, but then he goes, "Is that good enough for you? Like, was that what you wanted to hear?" And then they all start laughing and they're like, "Haha, we thought you were serious, blah, blah, blah." I don't know if Doksun knew it was true. I don't know if she knew he was actually confessing. She kind of has this, like, expression on her face that makes it look like she maybe knew, but she knew at this point that she didn't have feelings for him, because at this point she was with the one that I am glad she ended up with, which was Park Bo Gum's character. Park Bo Gum's character, Tak. I don't know how to say his name. Whatever. Anyways, so she ended up with that one, and that's who I wanted her to end up with, because I knew that's who she married, right? I knew she ended up with the Park Bo Gum's character, not Jung-hwan, the other guy. And everyone always talks about them, and I'm just like, I don't know. To me, the fact that we're normalizing the fact that, oh, but he cared. He couldn't even bother to tell her, girl. I do not ship them. There were moments where I was like, okay, they have good chemistry. They're really cute. And interestingly enough, the actors actually went on to date for like 6 years after this. They broke up. It was the whole thing. But they went on to date for a long, long time after this show. And maybe that plays part into people wanting the show characters to be together, because the actual actors got together and then were a couple for a long time. I don't know. Either way, I don't ship them. I don't think he was some great, amazing second lead. He, thankfully, at one point, because, like, a lot of the show happens through, like, narration. There's, like, scenes where, like, the characters will narrate, and he acknowledges it in his narration way later into the plot, when he was, like, after he confessed but then didn't do anything about it. He kind of acknowledges, like, it was me never, like, having the courage to like, tell her and not be, like, a coward about it, or however he worded it. Because originally he kept being like, oh my gosh, it's the timing. It's like, girl, you could have told her so many times, and it was your own fault for not. So anyways, that's, like, my general opinion about that relationship. I think it's really overhyped, especially because of her relationship with Tak and how much he cared about her and how much he was willing to, I appreciate them so much more than her and Jung-hwan, even though everyone was like, oh my gosh, I should have ended up. I'm like, no, he's not that great of a person. That's the other thing. I didn't really like his character, because a big part of their banter was that they would, like, argue, and he would always make fun of her, and I'm like, I don't know. I think it's just a personal thing. I feel like if someone tells you that their humor or their flirting is making fun of you or being mean, I'm like, so you just like being a jerk. So you don't know how to express your emotions with words like a normal grown adult, like a man. That's just the feeling I get. I know there's nuances. I know there's some people that is genuinely how they communicate. That is how they act. They're a couple and they really like each other. They really love each other, but that's how they banter. That's not me. I'm too sensitive for that. I don't like it. I just don't quite get it. I think it's okay to, like, tease someone, but maybe because I've been teased my whole life just about varying things, whether it was deserved or not, because I'm a bit of a silly goose, and sometimes, you know, I'd be saying some stupid things. I'd be saying some obvious things, and sometimes you get a little, you know, friendly teasing, but because I've had that for a lot of my life, from varying people, from strangers to people I've known for years, I kind of don't like it, because I'm like, I feel like if I'm going to be with you and you're the person that I want to be with, and we're dating and we're married or what, just we're together, okay? We're partners, we're life partners, right? I don't like the idea that you only show your affection by making fun of me, and you're not freaking defending me when someone's teasing me unrightfully. Like, you have to be my safe place. So why am I getting bullied from my safe place? That's why I don't like that type of banter usually in real life, in shows and movies or whatever, because I'm like, you just want to make fun of the person. Like, you don't like them. You just want to make fun of them. That is such a side plot. That is such a one-off thing. But that's just something that really annoys me about people in general, is when they're like, oh my gosh, my love language is sarcastic. Just say you don't know how to express your emotions. Okay? All right. On to my second show. So my other Park Bo Gum show, it's called Good Boy. It's a bunch of athletes that just basically become, like, special, what is the word they use for it? They're like in the military, but they're like special recruits, I guess is the word. And it was good. It's a police drama, so it's like it has a lot of really, really unrealistic scenes where someone has gotten hit in the head about 6 times and somehow they still keep standing up and they haven't sustained brain damage from all of it. But whatever. Don't call the police on me. I feel like I was seeing a lot of people whine about the show because they were like, oh my gosh, it's so unrealistic. And I was like, okay, it's not meant to be realistic. But as I kept watching it, I kept being like, okay, Loki, they're not wrong. It's so unrealistic. It's like the amount of times that these characters get hurt, specifically the main character, Bo Gum's character. I was like, babe, you have sustained debilitating brain damage from the amount of punches you've had to your skull. Okay, and this is my other, oh gosh. I need you to listen. I need you to hold my hand, and we need to get through this together, because I need you to understand I don't like the female lead. Sue me. I'm the worst. Caitlin doesn't like a female lead. Oh, she's sexist. She's not written well. She's not written well. I don't like her. I did not like her in the whole show. I tried. I don't like the actress. Oh, this is the technical third show I've seen her in. I've seen her in this one. She was in this one historical drama, and I think that might be my favorite role she's done of like the 3 or 4 that I've seen her in. I watched one show where I tried to watch it, and I ended up getting super bored because the plot was so boring. And I also just don't really care for that actress, so I was just like, and the main actor, I was like, yeah, I like him, but I didn't care that much, right? So I never finished that show. So like, it's like a partial 2.5 shows, and now this is the third show, whatever that I've seen her in. I don't like her. I don't think she's that good of an actress. I don't know if that she's not been given enough creative freedom with her roles, and she's just getting kind of cookie cutter roles. She had some moments in the show where she was really cool, and I was like vibing with her character. But unfortunately, the director kind of just wrote her as just the female lead. The 2 guys in the show who are like low-key rivals for most of the show because they both like her. It's like a love triangle. It's stupid. I'm sorry. It's one of the dumbest love triangles because she's not interesting enough to have 2 sexy men chasing after her. Oh, I said it. I'm not talking about her physical appearance. I'm saying personality-wise, she's bland. She is boring. She does not have very much depth. There's not a lot going on. Even her scenes with the main guy who she's like with is just kind of like, meh. This whole show could have not had romance. The reason I'm glad it had romance is because Park Bo Gum does romance incredibly well, and I loved his character. I loved how he did things. I mean, he did start to tick me off a little bit too, because I was like, you're just such an idiot. Like, oh my gosh, you're like actually genuinely kind of stupid. Because he would just do things that was just like so dangerous and so dumb and so like also just like, again, as I said, unrealistic, where I was like, what is happening? So that's my main issue with the show. I did not like the female lead. I'm gonna be honest, I don't like her in shows. She's not giving enough. There's just not enough emotion. And I don't know if it's just that, again, the character is just not, I think it's the character. I don't really think she's a bad actress, but the way that she was acting in this show and in that other show I saw her in, I just wasn't impressed at all. And as I said, I watched her in the historical romance one, which was actually a really good show just in general. It was a really fun show. And I think I liked her character in that show more. She still's not like my most favorite, but I really liked the male lead in that show. He was spectacular. Here's my problem. Whether it's because it's her acting or the way they're writing her characters, her male co-stars are outshining her so aggressively that it's like, maybe it's not that she's even a bad actress. It's just that the male leads she's getting paired up with are so much better than her, and they're just being given so much more personality. I think she's just not getting enough of a character. She's just kind of a side plot. And I do feel like I saw someone talk about that, about her character just kind of being like the like helpless female lead. And it was like, why is she? She shouldn't be. Like, Girly Pop should have enough. But then it's also in the same, like at the same time, there's also scenes where it's like, okay, she should not be like, okay right now. She's like, they're in like these big gang fight scenes, and it's like, how is she holding her own right now? She's like 100 pounds and like 5'3". Like, why? It was just different things like that where it's like, this doesn't, and she has like, yeah, she has like this weapon, but like that's all she has. Anyways, I think the show should have utilized her character way more and should have given her way more of an arc. And also she had the whole like, oh, I get annoyed at him and he's like, I'm like the grumpy and he's like the sunshine. I don't care. It wasn't interesting. I was like, girl, I'm sorry, but the fact that it took her more than like an episode to like him, I was like, I would have been down bad for that man the second he revealed he liked me. And you're so boring. And he's so interesting. And listen, and I have said this every time I've watched a show where I didn't like the female lead. Most of the time, in like 95% of the time, I don't like the female lead. It's the way they're written. There are a couple select actresses that I just don't like, and she's one of them, and then there's another actress, and there's like a handful, there's like maybe like 3 or 4, where I just see them in a show, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to watch that. But then there's other actresses where I see them and I go, yes, immediately, yes. You know who doesn't disappoint me? Her. And that's the thing, is like, I've seen enough good shows with good female leads that I know they're out there. It's just they're not written very well very often. And unfortunately, they just usually get written off as just a romantic interest that's like has no depth and is like the boringest person you've ever watched. And yet she somehow has these 2 sexy men drooling over her, acting like she's the bee's knees. And it's like, and what did she do? She didn't do anything. Anyways, that's a whole nother side plot. I hate boring romantic leads. It doesn't matter if it's the woman or the man. If he's boring, if she's boring, I'm gonna be like, I'm supposed to be sitting here trusting you and being like, yeah, I get why they're so obsessed with her. And inside I'm like, what about her is so great? I'm so sorry. Ooh. And so that's how I feel. I feel like the other shows that I'm watching, let's see, what else am I watching? I feel like Reply had good female characters. They were annoying, but in a different way, because they were supposed to be kind of obnoxious at certain scenes. But even in that show, way better. In this other show that I'm watching, the female lead is she's very gentle, she's sweet, but she's interesting. I like her. And I also happen to like the actress. So I'm way more intrigued by her character. And it's like, I've watched plenty of shows where I loved the female character if they were not more interesting than the male character, but it just doesn't happen that often. It just doesn't happen that often. And it's just, also, okay, my other thing I'll say about this show. There was a side character. Well, there's actually 2 side characters. They were the villains, but holy cow, I was obsessed with them. They were so much more interesting than anyone else in that show. They had like 3 scenes together, more chemistry and more intrigue, more interestingness than a full-out makeout scene between the 2 main characters. That's how bad it was. Okay, the female lead kind of low-key, well, okay, not the female lead, the main female villain, I'll say. She kind of like low-key was like flirting with the main guy, with like Bo Gum's character a few times, and I was like, okay, so that's interesting. I'd honestly take that over anything else. And then she had this thing sort of with one of the other villains, and I was obsessed with them. He called her his black cat because he spoke Russian, and he would like call her his black cat. I was like, oh, you guys are so much more interesting. They had a really interesting arc. But that actress that plays that character was in a different show where she was, again, it was like the main lead and her were like enemies. Like they were like, she wanted to kill him. Tell me why they had more chemistry, were more interesting than the male lead and the female lead, who that was another separate thing. She was just not interesting. They could not have written a more boring female lead. I was like, I could not care less what happens to you, ma'am. I'm so sorry. And that is how I feel about, and that actress, now that's 2 shows I've watched her in where I was like, she's more intriguing than anyone else. She's a really good actress, and she's really like, I feel like being like, oh my gosh, she's unique looking. Sounds like I'm insulting her, but she's just like, I like her face a lot. She's really pretty. I just think she has like really like, her eyes are like really hooded and like very, and like when she wore a lot of like dark makeup in this show, and I was like, ooh, I'm vibing with this girl. She was also just 10 times more interesting than anyone else in that show. So that was like a whole other thing where I was like, okay, I prefer her over anyone else. Anyways, so yeah. That's, I think, all of my thoughts on those 2 shows. I haven't really finished anything else recently. I'm still in the midst of a lot of other shows. Excuse me. So we'll see what my next video is, but that's pretty much my review of today. Cast better female leads. Give your female characters depth. It's not hard, I promise you. Hold my hand when I say this. You can do it. Okay? Okay, directors? She doesn't just have to be pretty. She can be interesting. Okay, bye.